Seoul's most feared mafia heir was declared permanently infertile after an assassination attempt left him scarred and broken. For 5 years, Kang Joon-seok has worn his sterility like a death sentence. No legacy, no heir, no future in a world where bloodlines are power. Then Zainab Bello, the Nigerian fashion designer he spent one reckless night with, walks past his armed guards into his fortress and places his hand on her growing belly. The impossible has happened. And in the Seoul underworld, miracles don't bring salvation. They bring war. The story opens with Joon-seok presiding over a syndicate meeting where his own uncle openly questions his right to lead. Everyone knows about the sealed medical report. Permanent. Testicular damage, 0 viable sperm count. He's become the dead branch, a king without a kingdom's future, surviving on reputation alone while younger cousins circle like sharks. He's traded vulnerability for survival, accepting that intimacy died with his fertility. His one impulsive decision, a single night with a woman whose fire temporarily made him forget he was supposed to be dead inside. 6 weeks ago, Zainab came to Seoul for a fashion collaboration, confident, self-possessed, entirely uninterested in the dangerous man at an exclusive gallery opening. She didn't know about his world, his power, or his brokenness. When the pregnancy test came back positive, Zainab didn't panic, she calculated. She researched Kang Joon-seok thoroughly. She knows this child makes her either a queen or a corpse. But she refuses to hide or beg. Zainab bypasses 6 security checkpoints and walks into Joon-seok's high-rise command center in the middle of a crisis meeting. Guns are drawn. She doesn't flinch. She meets his cold, disbelieving stare and speaks 4 words. "I need your hand." Before he can refuse, she takes his palm and presses it against the subtle curve of her stomach. The room goes silent. His rivals watch, waiting for him to call her a liar. But Joon-seok feels the warmth beneath his fingers, life, movement, impossible truth, and his entire world fractures. The man who has nothing left to lose suddenly has everything to protect. Joon-seok's phone buzzes 3 times in rapid succession, the emergency code. He's in the middle of negotiating a port acquisition when Min-jae, his head of security, bursts through the mahogany doors, face pale. "Sir, there's a woman. Handle it." Joon-seok doesn't look up from the contract spread across his desk. "She says she knows you. Personally." Min-jae's voice drops. "She cleared the lobby, the elevator checkpoint, and the executive floor. No one stopped her." Joon-seok's pen stills. In 5 years, no unauthorized person has breached his inner sanctum. He built this fortress specifically to keep the world at arm's length, to keep himself safe from the intimacy that could expose him, finish what the assassin's blade started. Let her in. The door opens, and Zainab Bello walks in wearing a cream blazer and an expression that could cut glass. She's more beautiful than he remembered, curves more pronounced, skin glowing, hair wrapped in burnt orange fabric that catches the afternoon light. 6 weeks ago, she was a mistake he allowed himself. A single night when he pretended he was still whole. His 3 lieutenants tense, hands moving toward concealed weapons. Joon-seok raises one finger. They freeze. "Everyone out." "Sir," Min-jae protests.
"Out."
The room empties in seconds. The door clicks shut. Silence wraps around them like a held breath. Zainab doesn't wait for permission. She crosses the marble floor, heels sharp against stone, and stops directly in front of his desk. This close, he can see the slight shadows under her eyes, the set of her jaw, determination mixed with something else. Fear?
"No."
Resolve. "I didn't come for money," she says, voice steady. "I didn't come to threaten you or beg. I came because you deserve to know the truth." Joon-seok leans back in his chair, forcing his expression into the mask he's perfected over years of survival.
"Bored."
Untouchable. Dead inside. "I don't know what you think."
"I'm pregnant."
The words land like bullets. His chest tightens, that familiar phantom pain, where feeling used to live. This is a con.
It has to be.
The medical reports were definitive. 3 specialists, all with the same conclusion. Irreversible damage, 0 chance of biological children, the end of his genetic line.
Impossible.
His voice comes out colder than he intends. That's what I thought too. Zainab moves around the desk before he can stop her, invading the sterile space he maintains between himself and every living thing. But here we are. She takes his hand, her fingers warm, alive, trembling slightly despite her brave face, and presses his palm flat against her stomach. The silk of her blouse is thin. Beneath it, he feels warmth, softness, and something else, something that makes his entire body go rigid. That's your child, she whispers. Our child. And in your world, that makes me the most dangerous woman in Seoul. She's right. God help them both, she's right. Zainab's new prison is 30 floors above the Seoul skyline, wrapped in floor-to-ceiling bulletproof glass and guarded by men who don't blink. Joon-seok calls it protection. She calls it what it is. Captivity dressed in Italian marble and Egyptian cotton. The penthouse is obscenely beautiful. All clean lines and muted grays, the kind of sterile perfection that screams loneliness. Her suite has a king bed she didn't ask for, a closet stocked with designer clothes in her exact size, and a balcony she's not allowed to access. There are cameras in every corner except the bathroom. Even luxury has a price. She's been here 72 hours when Joon-seok finally appears. He enters without knocking, flanked by Min-jae and another guard whose name she hasn't learned. He's wearing a black suit that probably costs more than her entire Seoul trip, and his face is that same carved ice mask he wore when she told him about the baby. You'll stay here until we verify. Verify. Zainab cuts him off, rising from the couch, where she's been sketching dress designs to keep from losing her mind. You mean until you decide whether I'm lying? The medical tests will prove I'm 11 weeks pregnant with your child. She crosses her arms, deliberate and unbowed. But you already know that. You felt it. Something flickers behind his eyes. Vulnerability, maybe, or fear, before the mask slams back into place. This penthouse has everything you need. Anything else, tell Min-jae. I need my freedom. Not negotiable. Joon-seok turns to leave. Zainab moves fast, stepping into his path. The guards reach for their weapons, but Joon-seok stops them with a glance. She's close enough now to see the faint scar along his jawline, the tension in his shoulders, the way he holds himself like a man expecting a knife in the back. I'm not your prisoner, she says quietly. And I'm not some delicate thing you can lock away. I came to you because this child deserves a father, not a warden. You came to me because you have no idea what you've walked into. His voice drops, rough with something that might be anger or desperation. There are people who will kill you the moment they confirm you're carrying my heir. People inside my own family. So yes, Zainab, you are my prisoner. Because that's the only way you stay alive. She doesn't flinch. Then teach me. What? Teach me your world. Your rules. How to survive it. She places a hand on her stomach, protective and fierce. Because I'm not hiding forever, and neither is this baby. So either lock me in a golden cage and watch me wither, or give me the tools to stand beside you. For the first time since she arrived, Joon-seok looks at her, really looks at her, and sees not a problem to solve, but a force he can't contain. You're insane, he says. And you're terrified, she counters. So we're even. The summons comes on a Tuesday, delivered by his uncle's personal courier, a black envelope with a family seal pressed in blood-red wax. Joon-seok doesn't need to open it to know what it says. The elders have heard about Zainab. In the Seoul underworld, secrets last about as long as morning fog. The meeting takes place in the ancestral hall, a traditional hanok hidden in the mountains where the syndicate has settled disputes for 3 generations. Joon-seok arrives alone, as custom dictates, leaving Zainab under Min-jae's watch. 12 elders sit in a semicircle on silk cushions, their faces carved from decades of violence and calculation. His uncle, Kang Dae-young, speaks first. "We hear you've taken a foreign woman into your home, that she claims to carry your child." "She doesn't claim." Joon-seok's voice is steady, controlled. "She is pregnant with my son." Laughter ripples through the room. Dry, mocking, cruel. "Impossible," one elder spits. "You were examined by our best physicians. The damage was irreversible. This woman is either a liar or a whore who doesn't know which man fathered her bastard." Joon-seok's hand doesn't move toward his gun, but the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. "Careful with your words, Elder Park. That's my child's mother you're insulting. Then prove it." Dae-young leans forward, eyes gleaming with calculated malice. "A DNA test, conducted by our medical team, witnessed by all 12 elders. If the child is yours, we will recognize your heir and restore your position. If not," he lets the threat hang in the air, unfinished and absolute. Joon-seok has no choice. Refusal means immediate loss of power, possibly exile or death. "Agreed. Name the time and place." 3 days. "Our private facility in Gangnam." Dae-young smiles, and it's the smile of a man who's already won. "We'll arrange everything." That night, Joon-seok sits in his office reviewing security footage when Min-jae enters with a flash drive. "You need to see this." Min-jae's jaw is tight. "I had our tech team monitor communication channels after the elder meeting. Someone from inside the medical facility contacted your uncle's people. Encrypted channel, but we cracked it." The audio file plays. A doctor's voice, cold and transactional. The samples will be switched during processing. Negative paternity result guaranteed. Payment on delivery. Joon-seok's blood turns to ice. They're not just questioning the pregnancy. They're planning to manufacture proof that the child isn't his. With a negative DNA test witnessed by all 12 elders, Zainab becomes a fraud and a target. They'll execute her for attempting to deceive the family, and Joon-seok will be stripped of everything for harboring a liar. His uncle isn't just protecting his own claim to succession. He's engineering a public execution. Joon-seok closes his eyes, calculating odds and outcomes. In 3 days, Zainab walks into a trap designed to kill her. And the only way to save her is to become the monster everyone already thinks he is. Zainab finds him on the balcony at 2 in the morning, shirt unbuttoned, a glass of whiskey catching moonlight. He's been avoiding her since the elder meeting. 3 days of clipped orders delivered through Min-jae, of passing her in hallways without meeting her eyes. She knows the test is tomorrow. She knows what's at stake. "You can't sleep either," she says, stepping through the glass door. Joon-seok doesn't turn. "You should rest. Tomorrow will be difficult." "Stop." She moves closer, bare feet silent on cold stone. "Stop treating me like a problem you're managing. I'm not one of your soldiers."
No.
His voice is rough, tired. "You're the woman carrying the only thing in this world that matters, walking into a room full of men who want you dead. That's infinitely worse." The vulnerability in those words cracks something open between them. Zainab reaches out, fingers brushing his shoulder, and feels him tense. She can see it now in the moonlight, the network of scars cutting across his back, disappearing beneath his shirt. Surgical scars. Knife wounds. The roadmap of the assassination attempt that stole his future. "Let me see," she whispers. "Zainab."
Please.
He exhales, a sound like surrender, and lets her push the shirt from his shoulders. The scars are worse than she imagined, thick, raised tissue from repeated surgeries, puncture wounds that nearly killed him, burns from something she doesn't want to know about. Her fingers trace the largest scar, the one that runs from his lower back around his hip. They severed an artery. Joon-seok says quietly, "By the time they got me to the hospital, I'd lost enough blood to kill 3 men. The damage to the surrounding tissue was extensive." The doctors said I was lucky to survive. His laugh is bitter. Lucky? You are lucky. Zainab's palm spreads flat against his spine, warm and steady. You're alive. You're here. And somehow, impossibly, you're going to be a father. He turns then, and the mask is gone. What she sees in his face steals her breath. Raw fear mixed with something deeper, more dangerous.
Want. Need.
The terrifying vulnerability of a man who's forgotten how to hope. I don't know how to do this, he confesses. Protect you. Be what this child needs. I've spent 5 years building walls, and you. His hand rises, hesitant, before cupping her face with a gentleness that contradicts every rumor she's heard about the Soul Reaper. You walked through them like they were paper. Zainab leans into his touch, her own hand covering his. Then stop building walls. Start building something else. What? A family. The word hangs between them, fragile and fierce. Joon-seok's thumb brushes her cheekbone, and she realizes with startling clarity that this isn't about duty anymore. Not for either of them. Somewhere between the office confrontation and this moonlit confession, they've crossed a line neither can uncross. Tomorrow, they face the elders. Tonight, they face each other, two broken people building something whole. The gala is a power play disguised as tradition, the annual cherry blossom gathering where Seoul's criminal elite display their wealth, forge alliances, and sharpen knives behind silk fans. Joon-seok didn't want to bring Zainab. His uncle insisted, and refusal would signal weakness. They're going to test you. Joon-seok warns in the car, his hand tight around hers. Every word, every gesture. They want you to break. Zainab adjusts the emerald gown she designed herself, a fusion of Nigerian oak fabric and Korean hanbok structure that makes her look like royalty from two worlds. Then they're going to be disappointed. The whispers start the moment they enter the grand ballroom. Conversations halt mid-sentence. Eyes track her movement like predators sizing up prey. Zainab keeps her head high, her hand steady on Joon-seok's arm, and meets every stare with quiet defiance. Elder Park's wife approaches first, flanked by women dripping in diamonds and disdain. How exotic, she says in perfect English, the word dripping with poison. Tell me, dear, do you even understand our customs? Or did Joon-seok simply pick you up off the street? The surrounding crowd goes silent, waiting for the explosion. Zainab smiles, warm, gracious, lethal. I understand that cherry blossoms bloom for only 2 weeks before they fall. Beautiful, but fleeting. She pauses, letting her hand rest on her barely visible belly. I prefer the baobab tree. It lives for thousands of years and provides shelter for generations. Perhaps that's the difference between decoration and legacy. Elder Park's wife flushes crimson. Somewhere behind them, someone laughs. A young lieutenant named Taemin, who's been watching the power struggle with interest. The evening continues in waves of subtle hostility. A junior boss accidentally spills wine near her feet. An elder's daughter makes loud comments in Korean about foreign gold diggers, not knowing Zainab has been taking lessons. Each attack is met with the same unshakable grace, the same refusal to be diminished. Then Dae-young himself approaches, his smile sharp as a blade. Miss Bello, how brave of you to attend, given your delicate condition. He leans in, voice dropping. I hope you're prepared for tomorrow's test. False claims to our bloodline carry severe consequences. Zainab doesn't retreat. Instead, she steps closer, matching his invasion of space with her own. I'm prepared for the truth, Elder Kang. The question is whether you are. The ballroom seems to hold its breath. No one speaks to Dae-young like this, no one survives it. But before he can respond, Zainab turns to the assembled crowd, her voice clear and carrying. I know what you see when you look at me. A foreigner. An outsider. Someone who doesn't belong in your world. She places both hands on her stomach, protective and proud. But this child belongs to both our worlds. And I will defend that truth with everything I have. The room erupts in murmurs, shock, admiration, fury. But Joon-seok sees something else in the faces around them: respect, grudging and new, for the African queen who refused to bow. The convoy leaves the penthouse at dawn, 3 black SUVs with bulletproof glass, taking the secure route to the medical facility where the DNA test will be conducted. Joon-seok sits beside Zainab in the middle vehicle, Min-jae driving, 2 armed guards in the 3rd row. The route was planned by his most trusted lieutenants, known only to his inner circle, which is why the ambush shouldn't be possible. They're 2 kilometers from the facility when the first explosion tears through the morning air. The lead SUV erupts in flames, flipping twice before crashing into a storefront. Min-jae slams the brakes, throwing the vehicle into reverse, but the rear convoy is already under fire. Automatic weapons, professional execution, a kill box designed with surgical precision. Get her down. Joon-seok shoves Zainab to the floor, his body covering hers as bullets spiderweb the reinforced glass. The windows hold, but won't for long. He can hear the tactical coordination, see the attackers moving in formation. This isn't a random hit. This is a military-grade operation. Min-jae returns fire through his window, taking down 2 shooters, but there are at least 8 more closing in. We're pinned. They knew the route, the timing, everything. The words hit Joon-seok like physical blows. Only 5 people knew the exact details of this convoy. 5 people he trusted with his life. One of them sold him out. The alley, 3 o'clock. Joon-seok points to a narrow passage between buildings. Ram through. Min-jae doesn't hesitate. The SUV lurches forward, engine roaring, plowing through the attacker's flank. They make it 20 meters before an RPG streaks past, missing them by inches and obliterating a parked car. The shockwave rocks the vehicle, but Min-jae keeps driving, tires screaming as they fishtail into the alley. Beneath him, Zainab is shaking but silent, one hand pressed to her stomach, the other gripping his jacket. The baby will be fine. I promise. Joon-seok's voice is steel, but his hand is gentle on her head, keeping her down. Min-jae, alternative Route 7.
Now.
They burst from the alley onto a main road, weaving through traffic while behind them, the attack disperses. The shooters vanish like smoke, professionals who know when to retreat. By the time police sirens wail in the distance, there's no evidence except burning vehicles and bodies. Back at the penthouse, Joon-seok paces his office while his remaining lieutenants stand against the wall: Min-jae, Sung-ho, Ji-woo, and Hyun-ki. 4 men who've served him for years. One of them is a traitor. The route, Joon-seok says quietly, dangerously. Only we knew it. Only we had access to the timing, the security protocols, everything. He turns, eyes like black ice. Which means one of you sold us out. One of you tried to murder the mother of my child. The silence is suffocating. Zainab watches from the doorway, wrapped in a blanket, her presence a reminder of what's at stake. So, Joon-seok pulls his gun, setting it deliberately on the desk. Who wants to confess before I find out the hard way? The traitor is Hyun-ki, loyal for 7 years until Dae-young offered him something Joon-seok never could, a promise of survival when the coup succeeds. He confesses after Min-jae finds encrypted messages on his phone, then begs for mercy Joon-seok can't afford to give. The bullet is quick, professional, necessary. But Hyun-ki's last words change everything. It's not just the elders. The Busan syndicate, the Incheon cartel, they've all agreed. Once the DNA test proves the child is fake, they move against you. Total elimination. You, the woman, everyone loyal to you. Joon-seok understands immediately. This isn't about succession anymore. It's about complete annihilation, coordinated across every major criminal organization in South Korea. They're not just planning to discredit him, they're planning to erase him. And Zainab is the key that unlocks their justification. We need to disappear, Min-jae says, already pulling up safe houses on his tablet. Take her underground, somewhere even Dae-young can't reach. They'll hunt us forever. Joon-seok stares at the city lights beyond his window, mind racing through impossible scenarios. As long as she's alive, she's a threat to their power structure. They'll never stop. The solution comes to him with brutal clarity. It's monstrous. It's unforgivable. It's the only way. He finds Zainab in her room, packing a bag she'll never use. She looks up when he enters, and something in his face makes her freeze. What happened? Zainab. He crosses to her, takes her hands, holds them like lifelines. I need you to trust me.
Completely.
Without question. You're scaring me.
Good.
You should be scared. He pulls her close, lips against her temple, voice breaking. Because tomorrow, you're going to die. The plan is executed with the precision of a military operation. The next morning, Zainab's convoy, this time with only Min-jae and Joon-seok knowing the real route, travels to a private hospital Joon-seok controls. Dr. Yoon, a physician who owes Joon-seok his life, administers a drug that mimics death, slowed heartbeat, no detectable pulse, cool skin. For 6 hours, Zainab will appear clinically dead. The accident is staged beautifully. A car crashed on a mountain road, engineered to look like brake failure. Flames consuming the vehicle. By the time emergency services arrive, there's a body, a Jane Doe from the morgue, dental records already altered. The DNA test scheduled for today is now impossible. The woman is dead. Joon-seok holds the press conference himself, his face a mask of stone. Zainab Bello died this morning in a tragic accident. The child she claimed to carry dies with her. There will be no further discussion of succession through this line. Dae-young's smile is triumphant. The elders nod, satisfied. The threat is eliminated. But in a secured basement 3 districts away, Zainab wakes on a hospital bed, gasping for air. Min-jae standing guard at the door. She's alive. But to the world, to everyone who wants her dead, she's a ghost. Joon-seok enters, and the look on his face tells her everything. Their old lives are over. What comes next is war. 3 months of silence. 3 months of Dae-young consolidating power, the elders dividing Joon-seok's territory, the syndicate celebrating the end of the infertile heir's delusion. 3 months of Zainab hiding in a safe house in Jeju Island, her belly growing round with proof they all dismissed as lies. Joon-seok spends those months becoming a ghost, tracking money trails, intercepting communications, documenting every move his uncle and the conspirators make. Min-jae builds a team of loyalists who never believed the accident, soldiers who remember when Joon-seok was more than a broken king. And Dr. Yoon collects the evidence that will shatter everything. DNA samples taken before the death, verified by 3 independent laboratories, irrefutable and damning. The child is his. Always was. The summons to the ancestral hall comes on a winter morning. Not from the elders this time, from Joon-seok himself. The black envelopes delivered to each elder's home carry a simple message. Come alone. Bring your successor. Final reckoning. They arrive with armed guards, expecting a beaten man ready to negotiate surrender. Instead, they find the hall surrounded by Joon-seok's forces, 50 soldiers, positioned with military precision, loyal to the man who's been declared finished. Inside, Joon-seok sits in the center of the room where judgment is traditionally passed. Not kneeling, not apologizing, commanding. On the floor before him, 3 severed heads, arranged in a row. The Busan syndicate leader, the Incheon cartel boss, the Dr. Dae-young paid to switch the DNA results. Dae-young goes white. What is this? Justice. Joon-seok's voice cuts through the shocked silence. 3 months ago, you celebrated my loss. You divided my territory. You thought the death of Zainab Bello meant the death of my claim. He stands, pulling a document from his jacket, the DNA report, official seals glinting. You were wrong. He tosses the report at his uncle's feet. Elder Park picks it up, hands trembling as he reads. The color drains from his face. 99.9% paternity match, Joon-seok continues. Verified by 3 independent laboratories. The child is mine. Zainab Bello was carrying my legitimate heir when you try to have her killed.
Impossible. Dayum snarl. She's dead.
We all saw. You saw what I wanted you to see. Joon-seok pulls out his phone, plays a video. Zainab, very much alive, 7 months pregnant now, her hand on her swollen belly. She's been under my protection this entire time, waiting, while you all exposed yourselves as traitors. The elders erupt in chaos, accusations, denials, desperate justifications. But Joon-seok raises his hand, and the room falls silent. By the old laws, the punishment for conspiracy against the rightful heir is death. His eyes lock on Dae-young. I'm giving you a choice, uncle. Kneel and swear fealty to my son, or join these traitors on the floor. Dae-young's hand moves toward his gun. He's not fast enough. Min-jae's bullet drops him before he clears the holster. The remaining elders kneel. The labor starts at 3 a.m, 2 weeks before the due date. Zainab's water breaks in the fortified medical wing Joon-seok built inside the penthouse, state-of-the-art equipment, Dr. Yoon on standby, and enough security to protect a president. But when her contractions hit hard and fast, all the preparation in the world can't steady Joon-seok's hands. Breathe, he whispers, though he's not sure if he's talking to her or himself. Just breathe. I am breathing, Zainab gasps, gripping his hand hard enough to bruise. You're the one, turning blue. 14 hours. 14 hours of watching the woman who walked into his fortress and destroyed every wall he'd ever built, now fighting to bring their son into a world that tried to kill them both. Joon-seok has survived assassination attempts, gang wars, torture that should have broken him. Nothing has ever terrified him like this. At 5:47 p.m., Kyo Koye-kang enters the world screaming, a sound so fierce, so alive, it echoes through the penthouse like a battle cry. Dr. Yoon places the baby in Zainab's arms first, and Joon-seok watches her transform. The warrior who faced down elders and survived a faked death melts into something softer, fiercer, wholly complete. She looks up at him, tears streaming down her face, and mouths 2 words. Our son. When she passes Kai to him, Joon-seok's hands shake. The baby is impossibly small, wrapped in white blankets, his skin a perfect blend of their histories, Seoul winters and Lagos summers, Mafia legacy and fashion empire dreams. Kai's eyes open, dark and unfocused, and Joon-seok feels something inside his chest crack wide open. This is what they said he could never have. This perfect, screaming, beautiful impossibility. Hello, warrior. He whispers in Korean, then in English. I'm your father. The coronation happens 3 days later in the ancestral hall, but this time the room is filled with celebration, not conspiracy. The elders who survived Joon-seok's purge kneel in genuine respect. Min-jae stands at his right hand, loyal to the end. And Zainab sits beside him in a throne that was built the day Kai was born, the first woman in 3 generations to be recognized as equal partner to the syndicate head. Elder Song, the oldest surviving member, performs the traditional rites. But when he places the family seal in Joon-seok's hand, he adds something unprecedented. The line of Kang was dying. You brought it back from the dead. You are no longer the infertile king. You are the phoenix who rose from ashes. Joon-seok doesn't correct him. He simply takes Zainab's hand and lifts Kai in his other arm, presenting his family to the assembled syndicate. This is my legacy, he says, voice carrying through the hall. Not built on fear or power alone, but on the impossible made real. On love that survived war. On a woman brave enough to walk into hell and a child strong enough to be born from it. Later, when the ceremonies end and guests depart, Joon-seok finds Zainab in the nursery, rocking Kai to sleep. He wraps his arms around them both, his family, his miracle, his redemption, and finally understands what it means to be whole. The dead branch has bloomed, and the legacy he leaves will be measured not in territory or fear, but in the son who carries two worlds in his name and the woman who taught a frozen king how to feel again.